Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're talking about bulking the right way, step by step for hard gainers. How to gain weight, gain muscle as a skinny hard gainer. So guys, in this video, we're going to talk about, proper ways to actually put on muscle. So guys, if you are not a hard gainer and you find it very easy to put on muscle, or you have enough muscle as is, you don't have to stick around for the video, but I suggest you do it anyway, just so you can learn a little bit more. So if you have any skinny gainer or hard gainer friends, you can relay the message. Anyway, so understanding that, bulking, what bulking actually is, and bulking is basically the idea behind bulking, or the myth is that you eat a lot of food, it's going to turn into a lot of muscle. And that is quite absolutely the opposite. We have to understand that, yes, if you want to put on weight, if you want to gain weight, and when I hear people say, I want to bulk, they're really saying, I want to put on muscle, but I really don't know how to get there. That's basically what I hear when people say bulking. So you have to understand that there is an importance of, if you want to put on muscle, that you need to be in a caloric surplus. But it's how much of a surplus do you need to be in to achieve, gaining muscle. So let's chat about making sure we understand that when you're trying to gain weight. And again, we're talking about these skinny hard gainers, those people who are ectomorphs, right? Those ones who literally, I hear all the time,
Man, Johnny, I eat so much food I can't gain any weight, I can't gain any muscle.
There's a lot of holes in that phrase. There's a lot of things left out, right? Because it's not just what you're eating, it's how you're eating, how much you're eating, right? It's not, I'm eating X and I should be gaining weight. That's not the case. So we want to make sure that we are utilizing the proper macronutrients. We want to make sure we're eating carbs, fats, and proteins. And then how do we change the ratio in a bit to make sure that it coincides with your goals, right? Eating the right amounts of protein, carbs, and fat are going to help you put on size, muscle in this case. And the whole point of this video is to make sure that we do this in the right way, that we're avoiding putting on unnecessary amounts of fat. Understand this. If you are a newbie gains, whatever it is, I don't really care. You're putting on 1 to 2 pounds of muscle a month, maybe. All right, let's just say one. I'm gonna say one, okay? 1 pound a month. If you eat 500 calories over your maintenance, you're gonna put on a pound of fat a week, right? A pound of fat is 3,500 calories. So if you eat 500 calories above maintenance, you're going to gain a pound of fat in 1 week. So put it this way. For every month that you eat 500 calories over your maintenance, you're going to put on potentially in a month 4 pounds of fat for the hopefully 1 pound of muscle you get. So let's do let's do 5 more months. All right, in 5 months, you put on 5 pounds of fat and 5 pounds of muscle. And where's the muscle at? Do you see it as good? Then you're kind of stuck being like, now I got to go into a cut. Now I got to go into a bulk. We want to avoid that, right? So let's talk about what your body needs in terms of macronutrients. So let's understand your body's requirements, okay? And this is something we need to understand when we want to actually put on muscle. Because when we're talking about bulking, no one's saying, hey man, I want to get fat and I don't want to put on muscle. Nobody watched this video is saying that. Everybody watching this video is saying they want to put on muscle. That's what you hear. Okay. So here are some non-negotiables when it comes to you building muscle. Okay. Number one, you need a resistance training plan that's going to elicit muscle growth. That means your resistance has to be strong enough, hard enough, or whatever to force muscular adaptation. If you're just kind of going to the gym and doing this, or picking up light weights and you kind of leave whatever, you're not putting on any muscle. You're not going to elicit or stimulate muscle growth or adaptation. Number two, you need to eat the right amount of protein. You can eat all the carbs in the world, you can eat all the calories in the world, but if you're not eating enough protein, you are not going to build muscle. And then you need the right amount of calories. If you're not eating enough calories, no matter how much protein, I'm eating 1.5 to 2 times my body weight in protein. If you're not eating the right amount of calories as a whole, you're not putting on any muscle. Then we're talking about rest and water and all the good stuff, right? Those are non-negotiables. So when you look at your body's overall needs, let me give you an example. Your body will only give you what it needs, and then it will allow you to build muscle after that. So here's how it goes. Priority-wise, your body's job is to survive. Your body's job is to make sure that it gets up every day and does all the things it needs to do to get through the day and then go to sleep and recover. So when it comes to your brain, hormones, collagen of the skin, hair, nails, all of that, your body is going to prioritize the calories it needs to make sure those things are running properly. And then after that, if you have enough calories left, then you can have some bigger biceps. So when you look at it, your body has to go through what it needs to go through first before it's going to give you the big biceps, the big legs, or the big chest that you want. So when it comes down to it, if you're not giving your body the right amount of calories as a whole, along with the right amount of protein, you're not going to put on any muscle, especially for those who are hard gainers. Because when it comes to hard gainers, trust me on this, you need to be on your game. You need to be consistent all the time. If you are missing meals, or you're not getting around a protein, or I don't know, you're not sleeping enough or drinking enough water. It's more, you're just behind the eight ball. Being a hard gainer, you're behind the eight ball as is. We have to make sure that our daily lifestyle and routines elicit the goals that we want. Now, going forward, guys, remember, my PPL ebook is out there for you guys to have a really good base of a good, 6-day training plan. My nutrition ebook will be out next week. So everything I'm talking about in this video right now, you will have that at your fingertips. There's a lot of personal anecdotes in there, as well as experiences with clients. It's an amazing motivational read, inspiring read that has amazing information in there about gaining muscle, losing fat. All of those things that I'm talking about right now is in that as well too. And guys, while you're at it, man, pick up some supplements while you're at it for those hard gains out there. Creatine, protein, maybe some test boosters, whatever. Get it, guys. Hit the link in the description below for more information. Anyway, let's get back to this video. Let's talk about structuring your diet. Let's talk about making sure that we have the proper amount of foods in that. Number one, you need to make sure that you're eating some I shouldn't say extremely, but you got the importance of consuming nutrient-dense foods. You want to have good proteins that have, that are, good, meats, or, proteins that are rich in amino acids, right? You want to have good carbs that are going to help, keep you satiated and, help fill the blocks of with energy, giving you enough amount of energy throughout the day, and then healthy fats. Meal planning and strategies are going to be your best friend. Now, for when we talk about the amount of calories you're eating, and we'll get to that point, but when it comes to adding more calories, it's very simple. We're talking about hard gainers. So right now, anyone who watches video who's a hard gainer is probably out of weight and it's just stalled. It's not going anywhere. So right now, the food you're eating, the amount you're eating is creating maintenance, right? The exercise you're doing, the non-exercise you're doing, the food you're eating is maintaining your weight. So in order for us to build muscle or put on muscle or gain weight, which is putting on muscle would be adding weight. We want to be in a caloric surplus. But how do we do that without adding a ton of food, right? Now, for the most part, I know hard gainers can eat a lot of food, and I get that because I hear it all the time, John, I eat everything in the world. I can't gain any weight. There's a better and easier way to do that without adding so much extra food in terms of volume. Put it this way, if your caloric intake right now is creating maintenance for you, your weight's not going anywhere, and you need to add, say, 200 extra calories, we can do that with a cup of rice. I'm saying, just give you an idea. A cup of rice is 220-ish calories. 2 tablespoons of peanut butter is 200 calories, right? So when it comes to overall volume, and, for the most part, eating yourself to your stuffed isn't going to benefit you at all. It's going to just cause digestive issues, discomfort, and it's going to get you off track. So we want to add foods or food groups or macronutrients, so to speak, that are going to help benefit you in terms of being able to add that much more food or calories without adding a ton of volume. It's not sitting around,
Oh, I just ate 6 cups of rice just to get,
I'm exaggerating, but literally adding little things like that into your shakes will add that extra amount of calories your body needs for energy to gain muscle. Now they're in this, we segued our way into, macronutrients. Is there an idea ratio for hard gainers? Well, not necessarily, but here's things you want to make sure that we are checking our boxes off. Now, I've already said this before, but let's talk about protein. When it comes to those who are hard gainers, 1 to 1 gram of protein for a hard gainer, I would say wouldn't be enough. It will definitely be enough for your body to do what it needs in terms of, replenishing, the protein that it needs in terms of amino acids. Yeah, for sure. But when it comes to putting on muscle, we're looking at maybe 1.5 times your body weight, to even 2 times your body weight in grams of protein to body weight, right? So let's say you're a hard gainer and you're 200 pounds. Well, you're going to eat between 300 grams of protein, right? Is there anything wrong with that? No, there's not. Here's the thing. if you're going to be adding more protein or adding certain things to help gain muscle like creatine, we want to make sure that we're drinking enough water, and that should be part of your regular in the first place. So let's just make sure water hydration is a non-negotiable, because that's one of the biggest things that can help you build muscle and recover. Anyway, so we're looking at, 1.5 times your body weight in protein, making sure that you're getting, between 20 to 30% of your caloric intake is coming from fats. Let's hit the higher end and make sure we're getting 30% of your caloric intake from fats. That's going to help with hormonal balance. The problem with most diets is lacking in fats. It's literally lacking in fats, and all of a sudden your cholesterol is, you have bad cholesterol, right? We want to make sure, listen, having a good amount of fat in your diet is going to give you that good cholesterol. It's going to keep your cholesterol in a good range. Not eating enough fat or eating too much fat is going to throw your cholesterol off. So when it comes to those hard gainers, I'm saying 30% of your total amount of calories coming from fats, 1.5 times your body weight in protein, and then the rest of it filled with carbs. So put it this way. If you're 200 pounds, let's say your maintenance is 3,000 calories, right? And we want to eat a little more. Let's just push that to, 3,500 calories. Let's just say 3,500 calories. 3,500 calories, we're only eating 500 calories above maintenance. That's about it. But again, we're going to make sure when we talk about training, how we're going to, avoid gaining some extra fat. So anyway, we're eating 35%. We're eating 3,500 calories. I'll give you guys an example, right? Of those calories, 3,500 calories comes from fat. It's 116 grams of fat. 116 times 9, 1,000 calories, plus that 1,200 from your protein. And then you're left over with 1,256 calories divided by 4. 314 calories. So you're looking at 300 grams of protein, 314 grams of carbs, and 116 round that of fat. And there you have a really good ratio of carbs, proteins, and fats for your caloric surplus. Now, let's chat about your training, because again, you're like, Johnny, you just told me if I eat 500 calories above maintenance, I'm going to gain a pound of fat a week. Yes, you will. Okay. If you don't do anything, for sure you will. So here's what we're going to do. Now that we're eating enough calories, we have to think about training. And remember, if we visit the beginning of the video, I'm talking about the non-negotiables. Number one of that non-negotiable was making sure the training is hard enough to elicit or stimulate muscular adaptation. Your body will not change if you're just going to the gym and not doing anything hard enough for your body to be like, whoa, wait a minute, something's going on. We got to change something here, right? So when you go to the gym, we're training hard, right? So understanding proper progressive overload, the importance of making sure that we're using good compound lifts, the big three. There's nothing wrong with doing the big three. But again, if we're looking at your training program should have a form of squatting, a form of benching, a form of deadlifting of some sort, right? It doesn't have to be deadlifts all the time. It could be rack pulls. It could be hex bar deads. You're doing some good big movements, some big movers to elicit some good stimulation to the muscle. And then, you're coupling that with some really good accessory work as well too. So making sure that you're training hard enough, and then again, making sure we're training frequent enough, right? If you're trying to gain muscle and you're a hard gainer and you're going to gym 3 days a week, your training plan better be just a banger. It better just be it's not going to work, right? So we want to make sure that we're in the gym long enough, frequent enough. I'd say long enough, but more so frequent enough. We want to make sure when we're training, we're hitting muscle groups twice a week. For beginners, twice a week, you're looking at training a muscle group between 10 to 20 hard sets. For those who are beginners, you're looking at more on the lower end of those sets, maybe around 16, 10 to 15, I'll say 10 to 15 hard sets. And then those who are more advanced, you're looking at, I would say more on the end of the 20 hard sets a week, right? You're training each muscle group twice a week, between 10 to 20 hard sets. And then, making sure that you're progressive overloading properly. So when you're in your training session, you have to train hard enough. So using some set intensifiers, drop sets, supersets, some mile reps, rest pause. Don't think that we have to always overload the weight for progressive overload. We can, making sure, I've talked about this before, making sure that our range of motion, our intensity and time at attention is consistent. And then we can add those set intensifiers, And then once we've exhausted those things, then we can add a load. And then, once the load is at that max, so to speak, then we're gonna add some more set intensifiers. We're always interchanging or adding something in there to intensify the sets to make sure we're progressive overloading and making sure that we're stimulating or forcing muscle adaptation. We've done all the work now. We've talked about eating enough calories, make sure we're hitting all the macronutrients that are going to help us build muscle. We talked about training properly and making sure that we're, in the gym, not wasting time, but we're in the gym being efficient. We're training hard. We're progressive overloading properly. And then now, for those who are in the natural realm or whatever, let's make sure we're using some supplements that make the most amount of sense. Now, I'm not saying go out there and get weight gainers, because weight gainers are just full of like extra fillers that are just going to do nothing but just put on fat. Making sure that, if getting your protein is pretty hard to do, all right, you say like, man, 300 grams of protein is crazy, Johnny. I can't eat that. No problem. Let's supplement with protein. Iso Smooth. Hey, what a good, right? Let's supplement with protein. Let's add things like, creatine. 3 to 5 grams a day is perfectly fine. Let's make sure we're drinking a lot of water with that. With all your supplements, with anything you put in your mouth. I don't really care. Your diet includes your foods, your supplements. And we want to make sure that we are drinking enough fluids to make sure that these things are, moving through our body more efficiently. We can digest food properly, keep ourselves hydrated, keep our kidneys healthy and whatnot, right? So we're doing that. But making sure that we're adding stuff like protein. If it's hard for you to get your protein in, great. Supplement a protein powder. A good nice weight isolate like Iso Smooth. And then adding stuff like creatine. Like I said, 3 to 5 grams a day. There is no loading phase and there is no weaning off phase. Just take 3 to 5 grams a day. You can take it in the morning if you want, or before you work out. It doesn't really matter. Just take it, right? And then you're consistent with it, right? And that's going to help, add a little bit. It's going to give yourself a little bit of a boost once you're in this phase of trying to build muscle. You can add other things like test boosters if you want. Our test booster has Long Jack in as well too. It's going to help. Is it going to give you the same benefits as exogenous testosterone or steroids? No, it will not. 100% it will not. It will help maybe 1 or 2%, right? Even taking a pre-workout, it's going to help increase your intensity in the gym. That's fine. Again, remember, these are things to help supplement. These are not your end all be all. They are not 100% needed. It's just going to make things a little easier. Like I said, if you're having a hard time getting protein, get some protein powder. If you're having a hard time building muscle, get some creatine, right? Not a big deal. And then let's make sure we're tracking progress. That's one of the big things that we're missing out. One of the biggest factors of this entire process that we're missing. How do you know if you're gaining or losing if you're not tracking anything? So take some measurements. Take some measurements of your biceps, your legs, whatever, your biceps, your chest, your legs, your quads, your hips, whatever it is. Take pictures, track, make sure you're eating enough calories. That's one thing we have to do is understanding that we're eating enough calories. Number one, we can take pictures so we can see how our body's changing. Take measurements so we understand that the scale that we're seeing move or not move, we can see some other changes that are there that the scale just might not be showing. And doing things like that to make sure that we can keep track, or we have some data that gives us, that tells us a story. I am gaining muscle. I am not gaining muscle, and here's why. That's the only reason why we're doing these things. Again, you can't diet blindly. And how do you think you're going to make progress if you can't see what's actually going on? And in conclusion, guys, wrap this entire video up. Remember the non-negotiables. Number one, you need to be training hard enough in the gym. Progressive overloading properly, being consistent in terms of time and attention, full range of motion, and intensity. Once we've done that, we want to make sure we're eating enough protein, right? Make sure you're eating, I would say again, 1.5 times your body weight, for protein. That's your minimum for the hard gainers that are out there. Then when it comes to that, make sure we're eating enough calories. You can't skip meals. Don't think you're gonna just eat your protein throughout the day. I'm reaching my protein. No, let's make sure we're eating enough calories. And in those calories, we have a good amount of protein, carbs, and fats. And if we want to add more food, let's look to adding a little bit more in the fat range. We can easily add more food by adding a little bit more fat in your diet. And I can tell you this right now, a lot of guys out there are probably not eating enough fat. So remember, 30% of your full caloric intake is coming from fats. And then again, making sure that we are tracking things. We are taking a good amount of data so we can make sure that we're heading in the right direction. We want to make sure that we have an actual plan and strategy, and we are seeing those things come to fruition. We're actually making sure that we're doing those things and seeing the results by tracking data. And those kind of things are going to keep us motivated. It's going to keep us on track, and it's going to keep you guys from going the wrong direction, which is not putting on muscle. So guys, I hope that made some sense for you and brings a little more clarity to your strategies and your goals. Remember guys, regardless if you're a hard gainer or an easy gainer, we want to make sure we're doing these things and we're consistent. Your consistency, your hard work, and your dedication is going to be the game changer in whatever goal that you have. Remember that. Anyway, guys, if you guys enjoyed that video and you want to see more videos like this, make sure you guys let me know in the comment section below. And guys, make sure you guys got my PPL ebook. My nutrition ebook's coming out next week. Cannot wait. And guys, make sure you head on over to Blue Star Nutraceuticals and use the code in the link below and grab yourself some supplements as well too, guys. And until next time, guys, you know how it is. Iron sharpens iron. Progressive overload your life. In the meantime, keep dream chasing. Peace.